The hyena should not exist. Not the way it is. Not with that body, not with that jaw, not with that biology. Somewhere in the design phase of evolution, something went wrong, and the result was an animal that shatters bone for a living, gives birth through a false penis, and outsmarts chimpanzees in silence. And it lives right now in Africa, doing all of it. This is one of the strangest mammals on the planet, and almost nothing you think you know about it is right. The cackling scavenger from the cartoons, the cowardly thief of lion kills, the sidekick to the real predators, all of that is wrong, and the truth is a lot more disturbing. Start with the jaw. That's the first thing that stops making sense. A spotted hyena, or crocuta crocuta, pronounced crocuta crocuta, weighs somewhere between 90 and 190 pounds. That's smaller than a lot of Labrador retrievers you've seen. Stand one next to a Ford F-150 and it barely reaches the wheel well. And yet inside that skull is a bite force of around 1,100 pounds per square inch. Some estimates push it higher. For comparison, a human bite comes in at about 162 pounds per square inch. A lion, an animal that can weigh 5 times more than a hyena, tops out somewhere between 650 and 1,000 pounds per square inch. The hyena is smaller than the lion and bites harder than the lion. That is not how bodies are supposed to work. Watch what that bite actually does. A group of 21 spotted hyenas has been documented reducing a 220-pound wildebeest carcass to nothing but bloodstains on the ground in under 15 minutes. Not the meat, the entire animal, skin, hooves, teeth, skull, femurs, ribs, consumed, digested, gone. In another study, researchers watched a small group of hyenas fracture and chew through a cow vertebra in 3 to 4 minutes. A cow vertebra, the kind of bone you'd need industrial equipment to break. The anatomy behind this is what makes biologists nervous. Hyenas have a bony ridge running down the top of their skull called a sagittal crest that acts as an anchor point for 2 of the most overbuilt jaw muscles in the mammalian world, the temporalis and the masseter, muscles so large they force the entire skull to reshape around them, giving the hyena that heavy front-loaded head that looks like it was borrowed from a bigger animal by mistake. Their premolars are conical, thickened hammers designed to shatter dense bone without breaking themselves, and their tooth enamel has a zigzag internal structure at the microscopic level, a pattern that resists fracturing even when they're crushing the femur of a giraffe, which they do regularly. That last one is worth pausing on. A giraffe femur is one of the strongest bones any land animal has ever produced. It has to be to hold up 2 tons of neck and body over legs the length of a car. The spotted hyena eats it, cracks it open like you'd crack a peanut and slurps out the marrow. Nothing else on the savannah can do that. Not the lion, not the leopard, not the crocodile out of water. The femur that every other predator has to leave behind, the hyena treats as dessert. And this is not a scavenger. That's the myth, and the myth is wrong. For a long time, the assumption in popular culture, and even in a lot of early wildlife biology, was that hyenas were opportunistic parasites, waiting around for lions to kill something and then stealing what was left. That entire framework has been dismantled over the last 4 decades of field research, most of it out of Michigan State University and the University of California, Berkeley, tracking wild clans in Kenya and Botswana. The reality is inverted. Spotted hyenas kill 60 to 90% of what they eat. Lions are the ones who steal from them, not the other way around. In some ecosystems, a lion's diet is closer to half scavenged, and much of that scavenged half comes off kills stolen from hyenas. The animal that Disney turned into a laughing thief was actually the animal getting robbed. And they don't just kill, they hunt cooperatively in coordinated groups, running down prey the size of a Cape buffalo. A spotted hyena can hit around 34 miles per hour and sustain a chase for miles, not a sprint, a pursuit. They're built for endurance, with those big forequarters and that sloping back that people mistake for weakness. It isn't weakness, it's engineering. All the muscle is in the front, so they can carry a severed zebra leg or a wildebeest head, sometimes 30 pounds pounds of meat and bone for miles back to their den without slowing down. The hunting is where it gets stranger. Spotted hyenas live in clans that can contain 40, 60, sometimes up to 80 individuals, and these clans are not simple packs. They are what biologists call fission-fusion societies, the same social structure you see in chimpanzees, dolphins, and humans. The clan splits into smaller groups, regroups, splits again, and each individual has to keep a running mental map of every relationship inside a network that big. Who outranks whom? Who is related to whom? Who owes whom a favor? Who is currently pregnant, currently nursing, currently injured? All of it in a hyena's head, updated constantly. And they are ruthless about using that information. Researchers have shown that spotted hyenas can listen to the calls of a rival clan across a distance, assess how many rivals are calling, compare it to their own numbers, and decide in real time whether to attack or retreat. That's counting. That is basic quantitative reasoning. In an animal, a lot of people still think of as a giggling savanna janitor. In 2009, a Duke University team led by Christine Dreyer ran a now famous experiment. They took captive spotted hyenas and put them in a pen with a food reward suspended 10 feet in the air. To get it, 2 hyenas had to pull 2 ropes at almost exactly the same time. Pull one, nothing happens. Pull them out of sync, nothing happens. The first pair of hyenas solved the problem in under 2 minutes. No training, no coaching. They just walked up, sized up the apparatus, and worked it out together. In silence. When the researchers ran the same kind of coordination task on chimpanzees, the chimps needed extensive training. Some pairs never got it. The hyenas were faster, quieter, and more efficient than our closest living relatives. Their frontal cortex, the part of the brain that handles social calculation, is proportionally larger than most other carnivores. Convergent evolution has quietly given them a primate-sized social brain inside a face that looks like it belongs in a horror movie. And this is where the story turns from strange to genuinely unsettling. Because the intelligence is only the second strangest thing about a spotted hyena. The strangest thing is what happens between the females. Female spotted hyenas are the dominant sex, not slightly, absolutely. In a hyena clan, every single adult female outranks every single adult immigrant male, from the highest-ranking male all the way down. Females are, on average, about 10% larger than males. They're more aggressive. They eat first at every kill. They inherit their social rank from their mothers in a matriarchal line that can be traced back for generations of clan history. If you're born to a high-ranking mother, you are a high-ranking hyena for life. If you're born low, you stay low. The dominance is chemical. Female spotted hyenas are exposed to extraordinarily high levels of androgens, male-type hormones, before they're even born. Their circulating testosterone as adults has been measured at levels above what the males produce. And that hormonal load doesn't just make them aggressive, it reshapes their bodies in a way no other mammal on Earth has been able to pull off. The female spotted hyena has no external vaginal opening. None. What she has instead is called a pseudopenis. It is her clitoris, elongated to roughly 7 inches, shaped exactly like a male's penis, capable of erection and equipped with what looks like a scrotum below it, formed from her fused labia. From the outside, you cannot tell male from female without a very careful look. Pliny the Elder, writing in the 1st century, described the hyena as an animal that switched sex from one year to the next. He was wrong about the switching, but you can understand how he got there. The pseudopenis is not decorative. It's functional. Female hyenas urinate through it. They perform social greeting displays through it, standing shoulder to shoulder with clanmates and letting each other sniff and lick it as a submission ritual. They mate through it, and they give birth through it. That measurement is worth hearing again. The birth canal that runs down the length of the pseudopenis is about 1 inch wide, and a spotted hyena cub weighs around 2 pounds at birth, with its eyes open and its teeth already erupted. A 2-pound animal coming through a 1-inch opening at the end of a canal with a sharp hairpin turn in it. It's been compared by more than one biologist to trying to push a cantaloupe through a garden hose. The math does not favor the mother. During a female's first birth, the pseudopenis almost always tears. Sometimes it tears fatally. The mortality rate for first-time hyena mothers has been documented at anywhere from 9 to 18%, depending on the study. The mortality rate for the firstborn cubs is worse. In some populations, more than 60% of first litter cubs die during delivery. They suffocate inside the narrow canal, or they get stuck in the hairpin turn, and their mothers can't clear them in time. No other mammal on the planet gives birth this way, not one. Female elephants have an enlarged clitoris, but they don't deliver through it. Some moles and lemurs have masculinized external genitalia, but again, not this. The spotted hyena is alone, the single species with the single most dangerous reproductive system ever produced by mammal evolution. And it works. That's the part that keeps biologists up at night. This system, which kills a meaningful percentage of the mothers and most of the firstborn cubs, has persisted for millions of years. Evolution has looked at this arrangement over and over and decided the trade-off is worth it. The prevailing theory is that the same hormonal environment that produces the pseudopenis also produces the aggression, the size, the dominance, and the social power that lets a matriarchal clan hold territory against lions. The females who survive their first birth are the ones who go on to rule. The cost is written into every generation, and every generation pays it. There is one more thing about being a hyena cub that you should hear, and it is not easier than the birth. Spotted hyena cubs are born with fully erupted teeth. Fully erupted. Sharp canines, functional incisors, muscular necks, and an aggression setting that is turned all the way up from the moment they take their first breath. They are born in an underground den their mother can't fully reach into, and when there are two cubs of the same sex in a litter, they often fight, not squabble, fight to the death. Siblicide, especially between sisters, is a documented feature of hyena early life. Sometimes the stronger sister kills the weaker one within hours of birth. The mother nurses whoever survives. For most mammals, that would be a catastrophic reproductive failure. For hyenas, it's a filter. The ones who make it out of the den are the ones ready to rule. Now pull back for a second, because everything we've just walked through, the bite, the intelligence, the birth, the internal murder in the den, all of it exists in an animal that most people would still call a dog. And it isn't a dog. It isn't even close. Hyenas belong to a suborder of the carnivores called Feliformia, the cat-like carnivores. Their closest relatives are cats, civets, and mongooses. The dog family, Caniformia, split off from the hyena's lineage more than 50 million years ago. Everything about hyenas that looks canine, the long legs, the running gait, the pack hunting, the endurance, the muzzle, is convergent evolution. Two separate branches of the carnivore family tree on two different continents arriving at the same body plan because the same ecological niche demanded it. A hyena is a cat that learned to be a wolf. The lineage goes back about 22 million years to the Miocene, when the first hyenas appeared in the forests of Eurasia as small, civet-like tree climbers. Nothing about those ancestors would have suggested what was coming. But within a few million years, hyenas radiated across Europe, Asia, and eventually Africa. There were once dog-like hyenas that filled the roles of jackals and coyotes. There were cheetah-like hyenas that ran down prey on open plains. One of them, Chasmoporthetes, pronounced Chasmoporthetes, actually crossed the Bering Land Bridge into North America. For a while, there were hyenas hunting in what is now the American West. They died out. So did most of their relatives. Of the more than 100 hyena species that have ever existed, 4 are left. The aardwolf, a small termite eater that opted out of the whole bone-crushing game. the striped hyena and the brown hyena, mostly solitary and mostly scavenging, and the spotted hyena, the last full expression of what this family became, the apex bone crusher of Africa. And even that description undersells them. In parts of Africa where lions have been driven out by humans, spotted hyenas simply take over as the top predator of the ecosystem. They don't miss a beat. Recent research from Western Zambia tracking clans in a lion-depleted ecosystem shows hyenas holding steady densities and controlling the food chain in a landscape lions once ruled. If lions were removed from the savannah tomorrow, the hyenas would inherit it by the day after. They're already inheriting it, one park at a time. And they matter ecologically in a way most people never think about. When a hyena crushes bone, it isn't just eating marrow. It's pulling calcium and phosphorus out of a carcass that would otherwise sit and rot for months, locking those minerals away from the soil. The hyena eats the bone, digests what it can, and passes the rest as bright white droppings that are so mineral-rich that other animals have been observed licking them. The hyena is the fastest recycler on the African plains. Remove them, and the nutrient cycle slows down measurably. There is also the medical dimension, which almost nobody talks about. Because hyenas eat rotten meat, diseased tissue, and anthrax-laden bone that would kill almost any other predator, and they metabolize it fine. Their stomach acid is aggressive enough to break down pathogens most mammalian guts cannot touch. Every carcass a hyena consumes is a disease vector taken out of the landscape. In parts of Africa where human settlements have grown up around savanna, spotted hyenas function as the nightly cleanup crew, moving through the edges of towns and cities after dark, eating what would otherwise breed flies and sickness. Cities like Harar in Ethiopia have coexisted with resident hyena clans for centuries. The hyenas are, in a real sense, part of the public health infrastructure. Now the last piece, the laugh. That giggling, whooping, high-pitched sound the movies use as a punchline is one of the most information-dense vocalizations in the mammalian world. Each hyena's whoop is individually distinctive, the equivalent of a name. Their giggles, the ones that sound like a hysterical human laugh, are actually stress calls, usually made during feeding when a lower-ranking hyena is being pushed around. And their long-distance whoops carry for over 3 miles across open savanna, letting members of a scattered clan check in on each other, count each other, and coordinate across enormous distances. The cackle isn't comedy, it's a phone call. So step back and look at what has actually been built here. A cat-like carnivore that runs like a dog, thinks like a primate, bites like a hydraulic press, gives birth through a false penis in one of the most dangerous parturitions in the animal kingdom, communicates over miles with a call people mistake for laughter, and quietly does more ecological work in a night than most predators do in a week. This is an animal that ought to be a paleontological footnote, some Miocene experiment that didn't quite work out. Instead, it walked into the modern age, held its ground against lions, colonized African cities, and taught researchers to reconsider almost every assumption about mammalian intelligence and mammalian sex. The hyena should not exist, but it does, and it is watching us right back from the edge of the firelight, with a brain built for social calculation and a jaw that can end almost any argument it wants to have. We laugh at hyenas because we don't understand them yet. Every year, the field data comes in and the picture gets stranger and larger. They are the most misunderstood large carnivore on Earth. They may also be, pound for pound, one of the most successful survival experiments the mammal family has ever produced. The lions we admire hunt less, cooperate less, think less, and steal more than the animals we mock. That reversal has been sitting there in plain sight for decades. It's just that until recently, nobody was really looking. They are still here. They are thriving in places where every other large predator is struggling. And somewhere in Kenya tonight, a female spotted hyena is teaching her daughter, by rank and by example, how to inherit a savanna. She was born through a birth canal that almost killed her mother. Her teeth were already sharp when she opened her eyes for the first time. She has never, once in her life, laughed at anything. The animal that shouldn't exist has been out there the whole time, running the place we thought belonged to something else. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.